Welcome back, everybody, for the third edition of Concussion Sub-Series. This is Suman and Akash back at it again. Again, firstly, season's greeting to everyone, to our viewers, their friends and family members, and hope everybody is enjoying the holiday across the globe. We continue to receive amazing feedback from all of you and all the fans on our YouTube channel. We are humbled and determined that we are only going to get better with all this feedback which is coming our way. There is tons of amazing content and speakers also coming up, so stay tuned. The only request will be do subscribe and share our YouTube link. The more support we are going to get, the more encouragement we are going to have. So a big thank you for that. Okay, moving on. Today's episode, Super Saturday, Boxing Day test matches coming up. Believe it or not, there are three test matches lined up this Saturday. India, Australia in Melbourne, which is the second test. South Africa and Sri Lanka in Centurion. New Zealand versus Pakistan at Mount Managunai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but that's a ground in New Zealand. Lots at stake, three test matches. It is a treat for cricket lovers, and it kept Akash and me busy preparing for the episode. So we are pretty excited to have four of our guests today. Uh, the reason why today's discussion is important is because the three test matches are going to be crucial when it comes to deciding the World Test Championship table as well. It's not just the series for the teams, but also World Test Championship. And another historic thing about Boxing Day test matches are it's a day after Christmas, and it's a huge tradition in Australia. Melbourne Cricket Ground. I've been there myself 2 years ago on first day, watching the game live. That first session, it is unbelievable atmosphere, especially if you're a Aussie fan. They look forward for it. So without wasting any time, let's jump right into introductions. So we will start with Shubhadeep. Shubhadeep, go ahead.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Suman, Akash, and everybody at Wadala for giving us this platform. It's a common passion that everybody of us share, and it's a wonderful job. I did watch the previous two episodes myself. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much. And talking about me, the way I will put it is, I have played cricket myself in my college days, in my masters. Did play some cricket for my the three banks that I worked with. I have represented them, and other than that, I feel it gives me a passion to win as well as the learning to lose and to fight back again. So that's what cricket does for me. My brother, I mean, we stay together. So my cousin plays in second division for Cricket Association of Bengal. So probably he will be moving to first division. So I'm just hoping that he probably represents Ranji some way. So that's a lot of cricket introduction from my side. Over to the next guys.
That's great. That's great. And I'm pleased that you are in Shubhadeep. And we were talking before the call. The last time we've spoken to each other either on phone or view is about 16, 17 years ago. So that's another
True.
beautiful thing about this. It's bringing all of us together. Fantastic. And what would be also pleased for you to hear, Shubhadeep, I think Ajay PK, who's our co-founder, will love having you on the show because I've seen both of you discuss pretty strongly about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So, yeah, we're very happy
Yeah,
to have you on the show, Shobdeep. Mithun?
yeah. Hi everybody. Mithun here. I'm based out of Vancouver. So as Subhadeep said that the love for the game goes very deep, right from our childhood, being involved in this game, playing this game, and watching this game. And thanks to What a Player for creating this wonderful platform and giving us an opportunity to share our experience and thoughts and making sure that it reaches worldwide. So that's something has been a new addition to the Water Player. So looking forward to this exciting time for us in coming days. Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Mithun and I go long, long way back again, knowing each other. Fantastic cricket brain. He's like encyclopedia for us. If Ajay and I have a question about cricket or any players, especially the domestic circuit, Mithun always has the answer. So that's the fun fact about him.
I love to watch Indian domestic cricket basically because I love to see the young kids coming through the ranks and how well they are preparing themselves. So I follow them very keenly and then see how they are progressing. It hurts at times when few players drop out at wrong time and they don't make up to the Indian team. So
We'll talk about India Australia team. I'm sure you're
yeah.
Anil.
Hello everyone. This is Anil here, based in Bangalore. Again, I'm like everyone else here, an avid cricket follower. Cricket is something that I've followed since I was very young. I have watched those matches of New Zealand happening at 3:30. I've also cried when Kambli cried during 1996, and I was as angry as the Chennai crowd when India lost against Pakistan. I was right there. Fifth day of the test match, was mesmerized by Sachin's batting, and after that Sachin has always been my favorite player. Nobody has even come closer as Sachin has been for me. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And when you were telling about the story of India Pakistan Chennai Test game, uh, I was jealous because those days, the first time ever I've seen a cricket match in ground is in 2000s. And those days I used to sit in front of television and see when will I get a chance to go to the ground. So lucky.
So to share a small story, I was actually very lucky. So I went in the first session. We were about to enter. We had tickets, but we left our tiffin boxes. So tiffins were allowed during that time, and we were like kids. So our parents have sent us tiffin boxes, and we left the tiffin in the auto, and then we couldn't go inside because there's no food, not enough of money. So we have to come back. And somehow my dad managed to get a couple of tickets. So we attended the last session where Sachin was in his complete form. He was whacking Sakin Mustaq, sweeping him again and again. And that was the session. So I was as energetic as the next 60. I still remember there was a 60-year-old man sitting next to me, and I was talking to him more than talking to my dad about the game. So,
Ah,
yeah.
stories, man, stories.
Yeah.
Right. Vishak?
Hi, I'm Vishak. Basically, I was introduced to cricket by my dad and my grandfather. They used to bowl at me at the backyard of my house. That's how I got introduced to cricket. And I started watching cricket mainly because of Sachin, who was my favorite player. So yeah, I used to cry whichever match Sachin plays and the team loses. So I was such a big Sachin fan. And slowly I started like as I grew up, I realized that cricket is much more than Sachin. And I ended up in a way that I used to watch even a test match when Zimbabwe and Bangladesh used to play. And I used to get scolding by my parents saying that, what are you watching in these matches? So yeah,
That is great.
that's basically about me.
Yeah, that is an awesome story. Any cricket match will do. Welcome to the show, Vishak. And any RCB lovers in this, or
We have majority today.
Yeah.
Dev is KKR fan, diehard KKR fan. Awesome, awesome, fantastic to have all of you guys in. Okay, so the main topic. So first Test match, India versus Australia. One word reactions about how the first Test match ended.
Super disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Terrible to say.
And the second innings was really terrible.
Okay. So with that reaction, so leading up to the second Test match, Melbourne. So first things first, do we expect changes in the playing 11, India, Australia? What are the thoughts? Starting with Shubhadeep.
So obviously there will be changes in the playing 11 with Kohli sitting out, with Shami not playing. So obvious changes are definitely going to be there. But so in the top order, we have seen Prithvi being very weak. So whether he will be replaced or whether he will be given another chance is something that we need to consider. So if Prithvi is replaced, then can we have Shubnam Gill at that position? Or will Hanuma Bihari continue in the middle order? There are a lot of changes that may actually come in. Even in the fast bowling department, replacing Shami because he particularly looked very lethal. though he was not among the wickets, but he particularly looked very lethal in the first test. So replacing somebody like Shami in the playing 11 will also be difficult. Yes, there will be a number of changes, positive changes. Hopefully, I think Jadeja's inclusion should do us good. Uh, let's see and hear what others have to say.
With that thought, Shubhadeep, just a quick question. Akash Chopra feels that we are being too harsh on Prithvi Shaw, especially with the comparisons again with Virendra Sehwag. He goes on to say that Virendra Sehwag himself didn't have a great record in South Africa, England, or New Zealand. So are we too early to judge Shaw?
So
We're just dropping him after one test?
So I won't say that, because if we have found a weakness in Prithvi, if everybody say Ponting has said something, Gavaskar has said something, that there is a lot of gap between bat and pad, and he's getting bold. That's something is a matter of concern. So nicking a ball in the slips or to the keeper is different, but getting bold is completely a different story. So I was just looking into the trial matches to the test matches also, and he didn't score much in those matches as well. So if he has to get a chance, I think we should look at domestic test matches first, and then let him push at the level of these pitches. So we'll wait. I think it's not being harsh, but I really feel if there's so much of a technical glitch in his batting where his bat and pad gap is being exposed, I think he should wait in the sidelines at least for one more match and let others come up the top. I mean, considering the fact that we are not allowing KL Rahul to come inside the playing 11 and Prithvi Shaw is playing, it's surprising for me.
I think our bench strength is
Okay.
magnifying Prithvi's lack of form, right? We have
True.
people sitting on bench, and to be perfectly fair, just judging one test match and dropping is not easy. But having said that, look, there is competition in the Indian camp, and the form's coming at the wrong time for Prithvi. But Anil, Mithun, and Vishak, what do you guys think about Prithvi and Shubman Gill?
Go ahead, Mithun.
Yeah. So what I personally feel is that dropping Prithvi Shaw from the second test would be a good decision for him also, and for the team also. That basically, if he fails again in the second test, it would be a huge problem for his career, and they might completely go out of the team once for all because of the competition. As Suman was mentioning, he won't be able to get back to the team again. So keeping that in mind, let him take a break and work on his techniques and come back stronger for the coming tours and the test matches. That would be the ideal thing, looking at the current situation, because you won't be able to handle the MCG pressure on the Boxing Day going into bat with a packed crowd. So it would be very difficult for him to bounce back. Mhm.
So
Along with his technique, don't you also think that his fitness needs to be had a look at? It seems to be pretty lethargic in the field.
So the 6 months or 6 months break, what he had from the game when he was dropped because of the doping test, he gained a lot of weight, and he did not do a proper fitness. So that's when he has become a little bit unfit. So but he's working hard. I could see that during in gym with the videos what he's posting. So hopefully he's still young. He will come back.
he's far better fit than Rohit Sharma, right?
Yeah.
For sure. But Mithun, counter to what your thought process is that Prithvi should be dropped and Shubman should come in. Like Akash Chopra mentioned on his, and bunch of other people are talking. Third test match, we're expecting Rohit Sharma to come in. So if you're dropping Prithvi, bringing Shubman Gill in, third test match, it goes to Sanjay Dubey's question for all of you guys. So what do you do? Who does Rohit Sharma replace on third test match when he comes in?
So Suman, if you see, Rohit Sharma made a point clearly saying that he is open to bat at any position. So that says that he has been communicated clearly, saying that based on the results of the second test, the decision will be taken if he is going to open or bat at number 4. I strongly believe that looking at the current situation, he might come in at 4 to support the middle order, and provided if Shubman Gill performs better.
So you are going to
How?
drop KL Rahul. You're going to take KL Rahul for second test, and if you're expecting him to come number 4, then Rahul drops.
I don't think KL will play the second test. I still feel and back Vihari to play at number 4
Okay.
for the second test. With this previous experience of playing in Australian conditions, he will be a good option for us to going in at 4 because of his solidity and controlling and one end of the wicket. I think Vihari will be there.
Okay. And Vishak and Anil, switching to bowling segment. Shami has to be replaced. So Siraj, Saini, and Natarajan. Who would you go for and why? I think this was a question from Nagaraj as well on from our viewership.
I would go with Siraj, given that his line and length, and I think he bowls a good those off stump line, those fourth stump and fifth stump, which could be useful against Smith and Labuschagne. So I would go with Siraj. Would I prefer Saini if he would have a little bit more experience, but he has a pace, but sometimes his lines and length varies a little bit more. So I would go with Siraj. I would still stick with 3 bowlers, Umesh Yadav, Bumrah, and Siraj, and then have Ashwin. I wouldn't like Jadeja in my team.
And you wouldn't like Jadeja because he's concussion subbed, or what's the reason?
No. So what I would have preferred right now would be, so you have your opener right ready. So you have Mayank Agarwal and Rohit Sharma. I think ideally he should open. So someone he has to replace someone. So I would prefer KL Rahul coming up and opening the inning instead of Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi Shaw should be replaced. I think it was a mistake to include him in the first Test match. He shouldn't be compared. The comparison should come from our end, right? From the viewers' end. Ravi Shastri shouldn't be comparing any player with an ex-player, right? He could become better than Sehwag, right? But Sehwag had a Test match history, a domestic Test match. He didn't just jump into international like that. Prithvi Shaw doesn't have that. So he should be replaced. So you should have KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal opening. Good two local Bangaloreans, they know each other, so that could work. Then you should have Subhan Gill batting at 4. So if he clicks, that's good. And then when Rohit Sharma comes in, he could opening the inning and KL Rahul comes down. This would do is KL Rahul will get some experience. He's not playing any match, and he's a vice captain for the other 2 formats. And here he doesn't even come into the playing 11. I don't think so. That's fair. And KL Rahul has much more potential when you compare with Shubham Gill and experience with Shubham Gill and Prithvi Shaw. So we shouldn't look at who will become the next Sachin or Sehwag. We should look at who's better right now.
Okay.
So
Do
yeah.
you agree with Sanjay Manjrekar's view of sending Pujara to open, rather than bringing somebody fresh from in either of Gill or Rahul?
I mean, that just takes away the morale of the team. We are saying that, our opening batsmen are not good enough, so let's just send Pujara anyway. That sends a wrong message, I would say. KL Rahul has experience. Mayank Agarwal has experience. It was a bad day, bad third day for Mayank Agarwal, but I thought he had a good start in the first inning at least. So I think he should go. He should be fine. But opener should do the opener task.
Nobody
Yeah.
ever agrees with my best friend Sanjay Manjrekar. Nobody.
His point of view was that he has batted a lot of time at 3. So invariably he used to end up opening the innings since one of the openers used to fall. So my counter question to him perhaps would be, what if we were to lose Pujara in the first over itself?
Yeah.
We are sacrificing one of our best Test batsmen just by pushing
That
up.
risk is there with any opener, right? That risk is there.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
so bowler, of course, I would want to hear from you. Why not Nattu and Saini? So Anil, I respect your thought process, but I still want to see why Nattu can't be considered. And then I think there is another replacement in discussions too, wicketkeeper Saha, and then Pant comes in. What's your view, Vishak, on those two?
Yeah, personally, in my let me come up with the openers first. I would mainly open with Mayank and Rahul, and I would have Jadeja in my team at 6. So instead of Vihari. So since that mainly because since Shami is out, we are actually having a debutant actually as a fast bowler, and I doubt whether we have the capacity to take 20 wickets with those 4 4 bowlers. So I would basically have Jadeja, and Jadeja can also handle himself with the bat. So yeah, he's not more bits and pieces player like how Sanjay Manjrekar mentioned. So he's much better than that.
Okay.
And yeah, because and again, since we have weakened the batting a little bit over there, I would prefer Pant over Saha. So like just to make sure that we have a solid batting lineup, and with Ashwin coming at 8, I think we have a good batting lineup in that case.
And what does the group think? Are we dropping Saha on his performance, or is it because we want to give Pant a chance? They're two different things.
It's a forced change, I believe, Suman. Looks like because of the pressure from outside, it's going to be changed because people from outside are putting pressure, saying that Saha is not performing and he needs to be dropped. But I strongly feel still we need to back Saha because the Test cricket is all about keeping skills, and he's one of the best glove man we have compared to any other wicket keeper. So it would be a huge challenge. Remember, if one good catch drops of Steven Smith or Labuschagne at a crucial stage of the game, makes a lot of difference. So
True.
that is a huge risk what Indian team is taking. Uh, let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. Just switching.
So with that,
Just to
so with
add,
that,
just a small bit.
yeah, go ahead.
The plan that the Indian team, the management had was Saha to be the keeper for the Indian matches and Pant to be the keeper because Pant is not good with spin bowlers, right? And Pant should be the keeper in outside India series. Now, how did that change? Why was it change? There's no answer to it. At first, you want Prithvi Shah to play a quick 40-50, and then you want Saha at the end to play a very straight shot, straight bat shots and all. So there is a very confusion with the team. So it was decided Pant should play international matches, Saha to be domestic. So I don't know why it changed. I would still go with Pant.
That's a great point. I buy that argument that
Mhm.
Mithun be saying that there is external pressure, so we have to change the keeper. Right? I mean, that shows that management is not clear on who's fitting where. But that's for India to figure it out. One last question before we switch to Australia. I think Chitu from our group had asked this. Number one, will Ajinkya Rahane be able to bring the same intensity on the field as a captain as Virat Kohli? Number two, what changes in fielding unit we need to do? Can we be a little more aggressive? If yes, is it field change or fielding positions? What's your view on those two questions?
Let me go first. I mean, frankly speaking, it's a post-COVID thing that I've seen. Most of the players are dropping catches, so it's not somebody. And you can just blame one person. So we have seen Kohli missing catches. We have seen even in the last series Manish Pandey also dropping a few. So it's not a particular player to be blamed. In fact, during the IPL, it has started from the IPL itself. There were a lot of dropped catches during those. So yeah, fitness is a question to the entire team, so that they needs to buck up and do well. But I think overall, with Kohli gone, team may actually feel a little bit more relaxed, and they may actually feel better. I mean, that's entirely a perception, but frankly speaking, there's too much at stress. I mean, the first innings and the second innings, the batting is dramatically changed. I mean, the way they were nicking the ball outside the off stump, it's kind of strange that how they were doing it. I mean, especially, I mean, it's just an observation because I was just watching the highlights yesterday again. Kohli came in, and the way the other persons got out, it was kind of strange. That is it too much of stress because Kohli is on the other end that we have to perform. The kind of balls that they hit was atrocious. I mean, it was absolutely not like an Indian cricket team. Now, I think he's a thinker. Ajinkya Rahane is a thinker, like Kumble. So I have seen Kumble captain. So like Kumble, Ajinkya Rahane is a thinker. So obviously there could be some positive changes. He may not be as aggressive as Kohli or Rohit, but he will definitely make some positive changes. So I am positive about the field changes that will happen.
What do others think?
So we could see that the glimpse of Rahane's captaincy during a couple of practice games which recently concluded, and he was cool and calm on the field, and he was making few good changes in bowling, and even everybody performed together as a team under him. So I strongly feel that it would be a positive change for the team and a good break for Virat Kohli too, uh, to see how the team can perform without him. So I think I'm looking forward to the MCG test very eagerly for Rahane's captaincy.
Yeah, Vishak and Anil just wrapping captaincy.
Yeah, I think it should be fine. Rahane does have the experience of leading the team. The way to show intensity would be different, but I think he's still as intense a captain anyone else would be. Nice Shubhadeep comparing him with Anil Kumble. It's the same kind of intensity that Kumble has shows, and then in even Rahane, you could be silent, but you could still be intense about it. It should be fine under Rahane's captaincy.
Vishak?
Cool. Let's
Yeah. For me, aggression is not about always being on the face of the opposition or something. It can be also something like you can, with your moves, you can show your aggression. So we have seen Rahane captain once in Delhi, where he scored 12 centuries, and he did a tremendous job. He was not being on the face of the opposition, but he was still aggressive with his moves. And we have also seen like Ishant Sharma saying that he is a bowler's captain, which is what we want. So like he listens to the bowlers and like he would make good changes. That's what I feel.
Okay. And just for the records, all of you guys lost Ajay PK's fan base because none of you said Kohli will be missed in captaincy. Okay. Just remember that. Okay. Just switching on. Yeah, if you were Justin Langer, will you make changes to Aussie 11?
So Justin has already given a statement saying that there'll be no changes to the team, and they're sticking with the same. Yeah, obviously, you always prefer to go in with the winning combination when all the players are performing in bits and pieces. So you definitely want to back them and give them the opportunity to play in the second test.
Okay.
as history has, do you guys think that you're bringing a out of form player into form?
Yeah.
Joe Burns?
He actually played
We have had
pretty Ashwin pretty well in the second innings. I mean, the way he was stepping out and playing the shots, he actually displayed a lot of confidence in the second innings. So Ashwin was bowling pretty well in the first innings, but the second innings, Joe Burns was using his feet, and that's when I think even if we had a slightest chance, that was gone.
Okay. And
So Joe Burns actually played well.
how many of
sorry, Akash.
how many of you are actually missing the banter, the heat which was there in the previous India-Australia series? There's no much sledging here. They're just being nice gentlemen kind of cricket going on right now. How many actually miss the banter?
In the
Yeah,
first
you-
test match, didn't give
Vishak,
any chance
anybody?
to have any kind of banter. Josh Hazelwood and Pat Cummins were doing banters the best way to banter to go about it, right? There was no situation that they have to go about go about a banter situation. Second test match, I think if you remember, Rishabh Pant was calling Tim Payne as a replacement captain. Could happen with Rahane, and I don't know how he's going to take it up, but yeah.
Awesome. So predictions, guys.
That's
Winners.
also leading to our final question on India-Australia game. Steve Smith is due big score. How many of you think he's going to be spoiling our party, or how many of you think that he's a slump form continuing from IPL?
I
think
personally
he's
feel
a century or so. Yeah.
Sorry,
But,
Mithun, go ahead.
okay. So I personally feel if we are due for a big score and he will work Ashwin out, and we are due for a very big score this time. I am looking for a double 100 in this MCG test.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, he's due for a big score, and he likes playing on the ground. He mentioned that. And like I said at the start, the build-up of MCG Boxing Day, Aussies usually get pumped, and with crowd behind them, toss will be crucial. Me and Akash were talking about it, saying what is the realistic chance for India to win. If we win the toss, I think we are in good spot. If we lose the toss, we are in for a long test match again, unfortunately. But we'll see.
Maybe a fifth run by Smudge. You never know.
Time will tell. Okay.
Actually, I'm
So predictions, guys?
I'm expecting a double ton from him. And Suman, you also posted in the group saying that he likes playing in the MCG and is pretty excited.
Yeah.
And that too, he failed in the first test, and it looks ominous for us.
Okay. Let's hope.
So is there anyone who believes that they're going to win?
My mind says he might score big, but heart says that let him fail, and hopefully Bumrah will get best out of him and get his wicket. Yeah.
That's an Indian heart. That's an Indian heart speaking.
That's a good segue, right? From Indian heart to our neighbor, Pakistan versus New Zealand. That's the game 2 for Boxing Day. Pakistan is coming into the Test series. It's a 2-test match series, but they lost T20 before this 2-1. So what's the reaction about that Test match? Again, who are the players to watch out for? What's the prediction of the game? Akash, maybe you can lead us into the insights.
Sure, Suman. Let's, I think, first start with the playing 11 of Pakistan. I know they are missing Babar Azam pretty badly. They won the third T20 thanks to Hafiz, but I have a bad feeling that this is going to go the wrong way in this particular series. Let's start with the Pakistan's lineup first. Shan Masood, Abid Ali, no changes there. They have been the opening pair in the last series. Azhar Ali as solid as ever at number 3. Haris Sohail, Fawad Alam, Mohammad Rizwan is the new captain. He's young, he's energetic, and to pick up captaincy so early in the career is going to have a big impact on him. At number 6, this is going to be a question mark. Will they give a debut to Imran Butt, or is it going to be Fahim Ashraf? Are they going to go for the all-rounder skills? Number 8 is Yasir Shah. Number 9, Naseem Shah. Number 10, Mohammad Abbas. And number 11, Shaheen Afridi. I think the pace bowlers seem to be pretty much picking themselves up, as is Yasir Shah. But I think the question will, as usual, come with the number 6 and 7 slots. Are they going to go for the all-rounder, or they're going to go for the extra, a batsman, knowing the bowlers, how much of an impact the New Zealand bowlers had against the West Indies? What do you guys think? I mean, is this 11 is what you guys have in your mind, or is there going to be some kind of a change?
I must admit, I frankly don't recognize majority of the Pakistan team. It is completely changed. Maybe it is just me, but there are so many new players. But sorry, that was just my reaction. Keep going. What do you think about the Pakistan team?
So even I was thinking they'll go in with the same similar role team, and Fahim Ashraf will play at 6 because given that his all-round ability to bowl as well as bat, so he will be playing at 6, and a lot of responsibility will be on Rizwan and Azhar Ali to pitch in and take up the role of seniors in the team. Because they'll be usually missing Babar Azam because of his injury, and Shan Masood will also be missed because of injury, and Imanullah will also be missed at the top order. So it's a different team altogether. If everybody were fit, the Pakistan team would look more dangerous in the Test cricket this time. And I'm looking forward to see how Abbas is going to bowl in the New Zealand condition, because he's their main wicket-taking bowler, and he's performed well overseas in a couple of tours of England and Australia. So he'll be a player to watch out for Pakistan. And Yasir Shah, as you know, that he might come good with bat anytime and score some quick runs and give them that extra support in batting. Yeah, that would be nice.
Mithun, I feel left out, man. What knowledge about Pakistan team? So why don't we talk about Mohammad Rizwan? So where is he coming from? All of a sudden, Pakistan captain. How did he come through to such a big rank?
So Rizwan has been performing very consistently for Pakistan with all the opportunities what he has got, and people think that he has that captaincy skills to lead the team from the front because of his performance. He'll be able to set an example. That's one of the main reasons they are looking up to him. Similar to way how Virat Kohli was groomed under Dhoni. So they think that Rizwan is their future. And to justify that, he has been performing well in PSL as well as in T20s. So that's why he's been preferred over Sarfaraz Khan as a wicketkeeper in the team.
Wow, impressive. Impressive
I
information.
think he's one of the wicketkeeper who doesn't yawn, so I think he gets automatically selected in the
I was just coming to that. Yes, we haven't seen him yawn on TV, but I think the key will be. I mean, that's my take. I mean, on the bowler side, I am keen to watch Shaheen Afridi there again. So somehow some of his balls are pretty tricky and they're really wicket taking balls, and otherwise he just gives away. So in a 6 ball over, say 2 balls are absolutely unplayable and rest 4 balls are on the say uh, anywhere. Yashisha is a trick. I mean, other than if I look at the New Zealand lineup also, other than Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor, I don't see everybody playing leg spin pretty well. So Yashisha could be a key. Again, on the batting lineup, Azhar Ali will have to take a bigger role. Harris Sowell as well. I mean, I think these two guys have to come good. Obviously, leaving beside the opener Shan Masood and Abir Ali. I can't comment on Imran Butt and Fahim Ashraf really. I mean, anybody can play Imran Butt. I've seen a bit on YouTube. Is decent. Fahim Ashraf is also okay, but at this level, how they will perform is something that we have to watch out for.
Yeah.
Fawad Alam's technique, how many of you guys think is can be found wanting out there? You know, by the time he moves into this batting position, the ball might have just swung in and taken off his pads or stumps.
We saw that during England series where he struggled. He couldn't even stick on for more than 6 to 8 balls because of this technique. When the ball was swinging, he was found wanting. So he couldn't even come to the line of the ball quickly. So that's again a question mark on his inclusion in the team. Because even in New Zealand, the ball will swing a lot.
He
So it's
seems
going
to
to
have
be a huge
scored.
challenge.
He seems to have scored big runs back in the Pakistan domestic circuit. I think what
But
they're
the con-
forgetting is the
The
conditions.
conditions, yeah. Playing
Coming to
conditions
the
are entirely different.
Coming to the conditions, I don't know. I somehow feel that New Zealand seem to have a trick with regard to the pitches. The pitch seems green, but they seem to pile up the runs batting first. But the teams opposing to them seem to just falter. The pace quarter just seems to keep picking wickets.
That's been a strength of New Zealand over the time. So because they are unbeatable at home, because they play in this condition day in and day out, and they have mastered these conditions. So that has given them the advantage over the visiting teams.
And I feel
I mean, Tim South is a very good bowler outside in New Zealand also, but in New Zealand he bowls exceptionally well. So that's something you cannot take away. Tim Southee is absolutely lethal in New Zealand. Trent Bolt anyway bowls good in all conditions, but Tim Southee really performs well in New Zealand conditions. So it's very difficult to see off the new ball itself.
from the
The
time
kind of bowlers, the fast-paced bowlers they have. So even if you face Tim Southee and Trent Bolt properly, you will have Kyle Jamieson. I think he's a tall guy with a pace,
Yeah.
and then he comes. And even if you manage to face him, then you get a bowler who has the biggest heart in, I think, in the international circuit right now, Neil Wagner. He comes and he's gonna test you again until you get tired. He's not gonna get tired. So
Neil,
you have these 4 bowlers. So it's going to be very difficult for the Pakistani players. Uh, but I think they should be okay about it because I think they did pretty well in T20 series. It wasn't that bad of a series for them. And I think they're going to go with Fahim Ashraf. I think he had a good game in one of the T20s, if I remember.
The last T20.
Yeah, so I think they're going to go with the experience over a debut. So
Neil
So
Wagner is
if
number 2 test bowler. Am I right? Is he number 2 or number 3? I think he's top.
he's number 2.
Number 2,
I
yeah,
think.
Yeah.
definitely.
Is number 2.
Yeah. And from the
So
time
if we were to pick,
sorry,
go ahead, Suman. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying that from the time I've started following New Zealand cricket in their entire history, right now they have a well-balanced side, a fantastic captain. I think this is their perfect combination, whether home or overseas conditions. I everybody backs India and Australia for World Test Championship, but I personally feel that they are dark horses as always. They might come through as World Test champions at some point in time, but that's my personal opinion. That's my prediction.
That's why I'm, wishing for
but-
a draw series so that New Zealand doesn't accumulate a lot of points and India still have a good chance.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So coming to
So-
the lineups, I had a different opinion. I would pay Imran Butt instead of Fawad Alam. Like we already discussed about Fawad Alam's technique, which is very fragile. And yeah, I think Trent Bolt and Saudi, he'll be a walking duck in front of them. So yeah, and one more change which I feel like they might not do, but I would prefer is like Sohail Khan instead of Naseem Shah, because Sohail Khan is an outright swing bowler and he could be very handy in New Zealand conditions.
Ross
And
Taylor,
even
does he still?
And any changes you expect in New Zealand?
Sorry, Akash.
Do you expect any changes to New Zealand?
With New Zealand, I like it's pretty harsh to drop Will Young after just 2 matches. So that's a toss up for the team. It's like Tom Blundell or Will Young. I would personally go with Will Young. He looked pretty solid in the second test. So I would personally go with Will Young. That's the only change.
Okay. And Ross Taylor, does he still belong in the Test 11? He's a veteran.
Ross
It's
Taylor,
any day, I think. Go ahead.
yeah, he is a good player, is an experienced player. Maybe he is currently out of form, but I back him to come good. And one more thing I feel is like, yeah, he's due for a big score for some, and he did not fare badly against West Indies. I think he scored a couple of 50s there as well. So yeah, he still belongs at that level. Maybe he has a couple of years of cricket more in him, and he can still do it.
And then they need some experienced batsmen also. So with Kane Williamson, you need Ross Taylor. Rest of the players are still kind of new to the game. So yeah, he still should be there.
Okay. And Shubdeep, just wrapping.
So are we all predicting?
Sorry, Akash.
Go ahead, Suman.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, Suman, go ahead. No, what I was asking is, are we all predicting a New Zealand victory here, or is it going to be a Pakistani surprise?
goes without saying, New Zealand are going to win this because of the home conditions. They are the favorites here.
Yeah, New
Yeah,
Zealand are the
2-0 for
favorites.
New Zealand. 2-0 for New Zealand. But personally, if you ask as an Indian fan, I would want Pakistan to win. But 2-0 for New Zealand, hands down.
Okay. So Kiwis are the favorites, which I think on paper they are definitely. And if the form continues of Pakistan like how they did on T20, I'm also expecting a 2-0 New Zealand favor.
Good.
Okay.
With that, let's move on to the last test of the Boxing Day, which is Sri Lanka versus South Africa. So Sri Lanka, interestingly, won the previous series 2-0 against South Africa. So this time around, they will have a much more weaker South Africa to face. So let's start with the Sri Lankan lineup first. Dimuth Karunaratne has been in astonishing form in the Lankan Premier League. He's a skipper of the side. We're expecting Oshado Fernando to open with him. Kusal Mendes, Dinesh Chandimal pick themselves, so does the wicketkeeper Kusal Pereira. Lahiru Tirumane is the number 6 batsman, which I think they're going to select. Dhananjaya De Silva for his all-round skills. Lasith Embultenia, the left-arm spinner, ahead of Dilruwan Pereira, who's the more experienced campaigner, just because of the variety which he brings. And then the bowlers pick themselves again: Suranga Lakmal, Dushmanta Chamira, and Lahiru Kumara. Moving on to the South African side, Aiden Markram and Dean Elgar have been their opening pairs for quite some time now. Temba Bauma, Faf du Plessis pick themselves again. Rassie van Dusen has been in astonishing form himself as well, as is the skipper, Quinton de Kock. Number 7, I think they'll go with the all-rounder, Dwayne Pretorius. Keshav Maharaj is the lone spinner. Andrik Notke, Lungi Ngidi are the experienced bowlers, and they might hand the debut to one of the guys, Luthos Simpala or Clinton Sturman. So this is the lineup which we are predicting. Any of you have any other opinions with these two lineups?
Akash, I must say, impressive pronunciations, man. I would have never got them right. Both Sri Lanka and South African players. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Cool. So how about these lineups, guys? Do you see any changes for these lineups? And how do you see Sri Lanka performing this time round after such a confident performance last time round? Vishak, how about you start with this?
Yeah. First thing, one thing is like I read somewhere that Dwayne Pretorius is not medically fit. So
He has
I'm
been
not
passed fit
sure.
now. He has
Okay.
been passed fit now.
Okay, if he is not, I thought it's like they might go with one more all-rounder, or maybe with one of the Varane, or they have one more batsman, Bankroom or something like that, who both have impressive records. That's what I felt. But it's now, since you're saying that Dwayne Pretorius has been passed fit, they might go with him. And yeah, other than that, I don't see any changes to the South African lineup. And personally, I feel they might go with Luthos Ipamla because he is pacey and might be a better player, but just because of this quota system, they're forced to play certain players.
Okay. So Sri Lankan lineup, Mithun, do you think this is what you're going to see in the first test?
Yeah, more or less, I felt that this is going to be the team. So because they have experience of playing in South African condition previously, most of them in this team have played in the last series. I'm eagerly looking forward to see Fernando perform because he is one of the highly rated youngsters and he has performed in patches. So hopefully he's going to justify that and uh, pick up the opportunity and score some big runs this series. And Chandimal with his experience should be able to balance the mid ladder with Kushala Pereira there.
Werner Philander retired, Kagiso Rabada not playing. Anil, Shubhadeep, what do you guys think? How much of an impact is South Africa going to have missing these two key bowlers?
I think a lot of impact, given for the fact that South Africa hasn't been performing well in test matches. I think out of the last 14 test matches, they have won 4 of them. And against Sri Lanka, I think they've lost all the 4 last test matches. So you need a good boy, a good, a bowling lineup. But given for the fact that you have Notegi and Gidi, they both are good bowlers, but you need another person. When you had Dale Steyn, Philander, and Morne Morkel, right? So they all used to contribute. So now you have one shot of a fast bowler, and the rest 2 fast bowlers are comparatively new. Yeah, so it's going to be a big impact for South Africa. They are in the 7th position in the Test Championship, so they need to do well. So this is important from an international cricket perspective. We do want South Africa to do well. And another interesting fact that personally for me is to see how Aiden Markham performs. So Quinton de Kock mentioned that he does not want to be the captain for long. And they are going to look at Aiden Markham as the next captain because he has been captain earlier also, and he has the talent, and he could be the next Smith. I still remember it was such a bold decision. Smith was a youngster, and they made him the captain. And under his leadership, I think South Africa did pretty well. Yeah, so Aiden Markham could be the next kind of a Smith situation. So I would like to see that. Coming back to Sri Lanka. So 2 players, very important for them is Shuranga Lakmal, who's the leader of the pace attack, and he's been out of form for some time now. And Dimuth Karunaratne also hasn't played a lot of cricket. He had injuries, before even COVID situation or during the COVID situation. So these 2 players are supposed to perform well. If they do that, then I think the rest of the players are going to fall in place. Also, Chamira and Kumara, very, very good pace bowlers. They bowl at 145. Yeah, so Dimut Karunaratne rightly mentioned that they are equal when it comes to pace. So whichever teams bats better, it's going to be the winning team.
I think the most important thing which needs to happen by the Boxing Day is they have to ensure there is no COVID happening out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially in South African team.
I mean, that was most unacceptable thing to happen, especially after so much, concerns being raised at the last moment. So hopefully we'll have a good Boxing Day test versus Sri Lanka and South Africa. So Subhajit, just to round this up, how do you think Sri Lanka is going to fare against South Africa?
So the team more or less remains the same. So whatever you've shown, the team more or less remains the same. But the fact is, if I look into the Sri Lankan side also, that definitely looks much better than the South African side at this point of time. But considering the fact that how Sri Lanka's bowling side is, the thing that we need to consider is, can they take 20 wickets in the test match? So at present, the kind of form that their main bowlers are, it feels little tricky. So as Anil said carefully, that whoever bats well will actually take the cake. So that's something that we have to look out for. So this lot on Faf actually. I know Faf is not the prime among his form at this point of time, but Faf may actually move the innings together, may hold the innings together. So that will be the key. So though on paper it may be Sri Lanka, but I am still hoping that South Africa may pull in a surprise this time.
I think the last
But
time around
yes.
we had one of the top knocks of the decade, Kusal Pereira, winning the match for Sri Lanka.
True.
Mhm.
So hopefully we're going to see something special from them this time around as well, because Sri Lanka
I
are really a
just
good team.
I just wish that Rabada was there in the team. It could have been a very even contest.
Mhm.
Do you see South Africa moving from the number 7 spot to somewhere up after the series? Shubhadeep?
It's difficult to say. They're not consistent enough. So that's something that is very. It's a thing of worry. So they are not considered as Vishak said that the quota system is not helping them. So probably a Rabada coming back in the team, and it's a key factor. It's a key factor. Strike bowler not playing. It's in an important test World Championship is a key factor. But other than that, Dean Edgar is due for a good score. I like him play. I mean, frankly speaking, when he played in India, I like him play. So let's see how they shape up. I mean, frankly, South Africa is very close to my heart, and he clearly said, I mean, somebody, if we have a young captain soon after De Kock, it will be good for the South African team.
Yeah, you wouldn't want De Kock to be impacted by the captaincy. He's one of the best players they have at the moment.
Absolutely.
So if captaincy is pulling him down, probably they should move on to somebody else.
Exactly.
So predictions, guys. Who's going to go for Sri Lanka and who's going to go for South Africa? Let's start with Mithun.
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka is going to pull this off, and they are the surprise team because of their spin bowling options. I think South Africa might tremble here playing that. Mhm.
Yeah, Anil.
I think it's going to be 1-1. I think first Sri Lanka is going to win the boxing test match. They seem to be well balanced. South Africa is still very nervous about it, and maybe they can come back in the next match. But for the Boxing Day test match, I think it's going to be Sri Lanka.
Shubhadeep.
I would go with South Africa.
And Vishak.
I agree with Anil. I'm going with 1-1 as well. I think Rabada is only passed unfit for the first test. We're not sure if he might come back for the second, and he might even out things. That's what I feel.
How about you, Suman? Who are you predicting?
I think I prefer going with all Asian winners, right? India, Pakistan, and Sri
Lanka.
You love to have that. But lot of cricket. That's what I'm looking forward for. I think 6 teams, multiple things at stake, and outstanding opinions and views with this panel as well. So I'm sad that we do have to look at wrapping. We can go on forever, but look, this has been outstanding as usual. I think this is our 3rd episode. All of you have got super insights, and I'm sure our audience will find all of your opinions and insights intriguing. So thank you again for making time. Really appreciate it. So just wrapping up concussion, Sab Akash, any final thoughts before we wrap the episode 3?
Well, I completely agree with you. Let's hope that the Asian guys spoil the Christmas party for Aussies, Kiwis, and South Africa. And consider the table as well. These guys need to move up. So I seriously believe that the Asian teams need to win here. Just to wrap it up, just thank you to all the subscribers once again for subscribing and following us. We are going to come up with more such videos with your support, and we are looking forward to the panel as well.
Yep. Have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful, wonderful holiday, everybody. If you don't speak again, have a great New Year's as well, and stay tuned. There are more episodes coming through. Thanks, and have a fantastic holiday.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
guys.
having me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
Thanks,
giving
everyone.
the opportunity. Thanks.